A look at our universe from a 5D astrology perspective. So what our universe actually is, what's the model for it, and what's important about it. If you've been in grade school, you've probably seen this model of our universe. I got this at a thrift store, and it's actually missing the Earth, which is no big deal for the purposes of today. When you were in school, you were told that the sun was the center of our solar system and all the planets orbited around it. And you were probably had a test that you had to take about the composition or the distance or the revolutions of the different planets relative to the Earth's rotation around the sun. And various other physical properties were considered most important about the planet. The things that we haven't been told to look at in school would be the energy field of each planet, because an electromagnetic field emits an energy. That's what batteries are. Our planets are batteries. The moon is perhaps the easiest planetary body to kind of understand how it affects us on Earth. We are familiar with that the moon controls the tides, and that on a full moon, which is an emotional peak each month, the emergency rooms are filled. If we consider Mercury, fewer of us are probably familiar with Mercury's energies, although many of us know that things go wrong electronically when Mercury is retrograde, or tend to, or we believe they do. Mercury is our double-mindedness. It's our lower mind, I call it. It's actually the dual mind of duality and karma. It has one face towards the sun almost all of the Earth's year, and then only turns its other face to the sun for a small portion of the year. Mercury's year is almost as long as its day. So it's got a very unique signature that we feel coming from the Earth. It rules communications. When you send out a text or you make a phone call or anything like that, you're actually using Mercury's energy. That's the energy of Mercury's electromagnetic field. Each planetary body in our solar system has a very known, familiar type of energy that we all recognize in our lives. We just don't recognize which planet it's coming from. So with this chart, you can freeze frame it and get familiar with the energies of each planet. But it's important to know that every change in our life comes by the orbit of the planets to our natal chart. A natal chart is a map of the planetary energies at the time of their space and birth. So these little symbols represent the position of the planets by constellation or zodiac sign, and these lines in between determine the type of energy that existed between the planets at the time they were born. This becomes fixed energy in their charts. The red lines represent a harsher third-dimensional aspect of growth and stress and challenge. The long red lines bring about a contrasting energy that show us something we need to see. The blue lines were ease, where the planetary energies were cooperating and working harmoniously together. And the green dashed lines were aspects between the planets that required an adjustment. So this is the basic way astrology works. As the magnetic fields, the planets' batteries orbit, they create different energies between themselves. And the time and space of your birth determines your fixed natal chart. It is your circuit board and your unique perspective of the universe. Its orbit in this person's chart, they make different geometrical angles to their natal planets. So here you see that transiting Pluto down here is conjunct, it's meeting their Uranus and Neptune in the sign of Capricorn, which is very significant for the early 20-somethings, where they will be creating vast transformational change. But if you look up here, Neptune, transiting Neptune, is opposing their soul mind, their psyche over here in Virgo. And transiting Saturn is opposing their Venus up here in Gemini. And transiting Jupiter, the North Node and the Moon are making an easier aspect called a sextile to their natal Pluto. So to help you understand what fifth dimensional astrology is, there's a story I like to tell. I had done an astrology reading for a woman who was a hairdresser, and one day I was in her salon and her brother came in, and we were talking about her reading and astrology, and I asked her brother if he wanted a reading, and he said, oh, he didn't believe in astrology. Well, I happen to know that her brother was studying at Michigan Tech and was probably an engineer, so I asked him what he was studying. He said electrical engineering. And I said, oh, okay, well, let me see if I can make this very simple for you. I said, you would agree that every planet has an electromagnetic field, right? And that electromagnetic field emits an energy. We know that the moon creates the tides and emotional peaks, and all the other planets have a unique energy that we sense and feel here as well. So if we were to take our natal charts from the time and space where we were born, which is our unique perspective of the universe, and we were to put that chart on our belly as if that's our circuit board,